thing to Nightmare Demons. That's like a couple of days to them. It means nothing, right? Very, very short lifespan. And no one knows this more than Luca, who has been around for so long and who's never had anything against humans, so he would befriend them a lot and get into relationships, whether they were platonic or romantic, didn't really matter. He liked to have company with humans, and you know they would only live up to a certain amount of years, and they would pass away, and he would continue living on without them. And he's not heartless, so he had some feelings and he had some sad moments. It's really hard. This isn't really the best doodle to talk over because it's such like a happy picture. But he went through a lot. This guy Luca, which is why he's so cold, so cold and distant now, just because he's sick of it. Oh, I thought I heard somebody tapping on the window. Jesus Christ, it's windy outside. Anyways, what was I saying? He's gone through a lot, this poor kid, and so he's kind of tries to stay away from humans. Just tries to not get into any types of attachment or relationships with them, and which is why he pushed Papaya away so much, because he was just like, nope, I'm not gonna do this anymore. I'm done with humans. I'm done getting close to them. Of course, Papaya continued kind of chasing him. That's why Luca did try to put up a fight and didn't work, and now he got way too close to Papaya, and things are eventually going to end. And it's not going to be a fun time. Papaya is kind of aware of why Luca is like this. At first he was like, I don't get why this guy's pushing me away. And eventually, after he starts to get to know Luca and more about Luca's past and, past relationships, all this stuff, he's like, oh, this is why he wasn't going to get close to me. He wasn't laughing, but I'm only laughing. But he's very, optimistic. He's very, nothing wrong is gonna happen to us, like I'm gonna live a long time, I'm gonna do the best that I can to stay healthy and just, stay around because Luca needs me and I can't leave him right now. So Luca of course is like, I don't need you, but he does get close. I do want to talk about like really, really like personal sad things, but like I said, this video isn't long enough and it's not the right atmosphere. Bleh. So I'm gonna talk about some really, really sad things in the next speed paint. But it has to do with this, with the first time like Luca kind of opens up and allows himself to, I don't know, become attached to Papaya, I guess. Allows himself to be like, you know what? I can't go on much longer staying away from everyone else. I'm lonely and I need somebody. And yeah, but anyways, I'm not gonna talk about it right now. This is not the time. Okay, it's not the time. Of course, Luca is also kind of optimistic about, the whole thing. Papaya is like, I'm gonna do the best that I can to stick around for Luca. And Luca, on the other hand, is thinking to himself, all my past relationships, all my past friendships and partners, they all passed away, and there was nothing I could do about it. But this time it's gonna be different. This time I'm gonna, put up a fight, I guess. I'm gonna keep this kid safe as long as I can. I'm gonna take care of him because he deserves it out of anyone I've ever known. He is the nicest, and he says it, not as nice as that, because Luca is not as nice and romantic as I am, but but he definitely wants to, keep him safe. And Papaya feels pretty much the exact same way. The thing is that Papaya isn't really a fighter. You can see him, he's tiny and fragile and just a ball of sunshine. While Luca, on the other hand, he doesn't like to fight, but he knows how to. He's pretty strong. I mean, I do, I have some Google documents, I guess, written about Nightmare Demons. I haven't published them yet to the public, I guess, but in the thing about Nightmare Demons, you'll learn that the demons who have those kind of deformities, quote unquote, are the ones with the gashes, which is what Luca has on his neck. So those are considered to be pretty strong. So Luca is a pretty strong demon guy. So when he says he can protect Papaya, he really does mean it. Papaya, on the other hand, not a fighter, has no experience, but he would definitely put his life on the line for Luca. He feels like he owes Luca his life, you know. But he doesn't really have any basis on it, you know. But he does care about him so much to the point of willingly, you know, doing anything for that guy. So he's very selfless, Papaya. This ship is so funny to me. Like, Papaya is kind of like a little bunny, and then Luca's kind of like a, what is it? Is it a Doberman? Like a dog? Like, honestly, personality wise, Luca's more like a dog. I mean, like a cat, and Papaya's like a dog. Because, you know, he's always so happy to be around, like dogs are. Dogs are so happy, and cats are like, eh. So that's a good comparison, a cat and a dog, or like a little, or like a little puppy, and like, anyways. But yeah, they're just complete opposites with, like, personality wise, and I don't really understand how this became a ship, because when I first created Papaya after Luca, they were not supposed to be shipped together at all. I did not even picture it, but you guys made it happen, I guess. They're not canon, by the way. They're not actually together, but you know, you can keep on believing if that's what you want to do. Alright, this video has come to an end. So, thank you very much for watching, and thank you so much for being invested in my characters. If you would have told me a year ago that so many people would be into them, I would not even believe you, because it's such a crazy thing for me to imagine. But anyways, it's time to go. So, thank you very much, and take care of yourself, and I love you. Okay, bye! So, this is a little gift to those who follow me on Instagram and who are really into this ship. To those of you who don't know who these characters are, I'm currently drawing my characters Luca, who you should know who that is, and Papaya. Um, and they are quite a not popular, but the most known ship of my characters. So, this will be a speed paint about them, I guess. All about Lucaya. Yay! And I haven't really done an all about Papaya yet, but you guys kind of want this, and so happy birthday to you guys. Also, as you can see, I am not using Fire Alpaca. I was actually trying out, how do you pronounce this? Medibang? Medibang? Meaty. Medibang? I'm gonna call it Medibang. So, yeah, but that's a video for another day. So right now, I'm gonna be talking about Lucaya. Let's start with the very, very basics, which is how they met. So, to those who don't know, Papaya is half human, half nightmare demon, which is pretty rare, but not, you know, impossible. It happens. He's not the first one, he's not the last. And Luca is just a full nightmare demon, no, you know, interspecies thing. He's just full on nightmare demon, right? Nightmare demons are pretty territorial, kind of, and they can sense when another nightmare demon is around, you know, depending, you know, the stronger ones can sense you better, but that kind of thing, right? And so, Papaya, as he was growing up, once he reached about 17, 18, he started getting those nightmare things. Like, he didn't know he was half nightmare demon until then, right? Before, he was pretty normal, and then all this junk started happening to him that I'm gonna mention in his videos eventually. But he realized, hey, I'm not normal. I'm this thing that I found out about. I need to find somebody to teach me how to control this kind of nightmare powers that I have, because I can't sleep. He hasn't slept in forever because he keeps giving himself nightmares because he can't control the nightmares that are coming out of him, whatever. And as he starts traveling about, you know, trying to find an actual 100% nightmare demon to teach him how to control, you know, his abilities. and he senses somebody nearby, a nightmare demon nearby, and that person happens to be Luca. Now, as I've stated before, Luca was mostly a lone wolf kind of guy. He didn't want any attachments to people because he didn't like getting hurt, when they pass away, life happens. And so he was kind of trying to stick to himself. And then this random kid comes up to him and is like, hey, I need your help. You don't know me, but I'm half nightmare demon. I don't know how to control these abilities. Can you teach me how? And Luca was like, nope. And he just left. But Papaya wasn't going to give up because, hey, life is terrible for him right now. He is desperate. And he knows that Luca isn't a bad guy. Luca comes off as a jerk and, cold, but he knows he's like, this guy, he wants to be alone, but he's not evil, and I know he's not gonna hurt me because he's had a lot of chances to hurt me and he hasn't. So he can't be that bad of a guy. I'm gonna ask for his help and continue to do so until he says yes. And so that's what Papaya does. He's very persistent. He knows exactly what he wants. He didn't like Luca yet, by the way. He just needed somebody to teach him how to, be a nightmare demon. So Papaya keeps, chasing him down, keeps trying to ask for help, yada yada yada. And it's annoying to Luca, but it's not that big of a deal. I mean, Luca is a nightmare demon. He can easily get rid of Papaya whenever he wanted to. Papaya's only half nightmare demon. He's still as fragile as a human, so if he was really posing any kind of annoyance or threat, Luca could easily get rid of him. But he knows, hey, this guy is just a kid who needs to get a hold of himself. He's not that big of a problem, so whatever. But eventually, Papaya does wear him down, and to the point where Luca's just like, all right, whatever, I'll help you, just leave me alone. That kind of story. That's how it all starts. Very fun. And so Papaya's like, great, yeah, that's awesome. Okay, teach me all this stuff. And so things start to happen, as in Luca kind of tries to help him. Like, he doesn't put in all his effort. He's just trying to get rid of this kid, right? So Papaya does, start learning how to get a better hold of these abilities. He still has a lot of trouble, but it's a lot better. And it becomes very domesticated, as in Papaya's like, hey, listen, I don't want to keep traveling like this. I get that you like to wander around, but I kind of want to go home. So Luca's like, yeah, whatever. And so they end up, kind of living together. I don't know if you would. Luca's kind of like an outdoor cat who kind of just goes home to eat. That's pretty much how you can describe him. So it's Papaya's place, but he'll come around once in a while to eat and sleep, and then he just kind of goes off on his own. And eventually Papaya does realize that, hey, this guy likes to eat a lot. Luca he's just an eating machine, and he especially likes homemade food. So Papaya, being the good guy that he is like, I know exactly how to get this guy to help me. And so he learns how to cook. He buys a bunch of cookbooks. He watches a cooking channel. He's just kind of like your, like a 50s stay-at-home mom kind of guy. He's like, I just gotta learn how to cook and make this guy happy so that he continues to teach me how to do these things and he likes me more, and and it works. Like, Luca's like, heck yeah, I like staying at this place. He sleeps there too. Nightmare demons don't really have to sleep that much. It's not super duper beneficial to them, but Luca is especially kind of just lazy. So he'll just sleep when he's bored. And so whenever he's bored and not hungry, he'll just be like, I'm just going to sleep at Papaya's place. And eventually that place is no longer Papaya's place, and it's Papaya's and Luca's place. So that's how domesticated they become. Honestly, it doesn't take Luca that long to start liking Papaya, and I mean liking in a platonic way, not like a romantic way. More, like, this kid isn't that bad, that kind of way. Papaya is a very likable guy to like 99% of the population. I mean, even my most bitter characters like him, so that says a lot. He's super nice, he's selfless, I guess he was selfish in the way that he wasn't going to take no for an answer when it comes to Luca, but this kid was desperate, But he does make it up to Luca as often as he can, and he's very grateful, and he's always, so thankful to him. And Luca's just like, yeah, whatever. So, I'm sorry. Every time I talk about Luca, I laugh because he makes me laugh a lot. But so yeah, it doesn't take long for him to be like, this kid isn't that bad. It's not, and it's not a hassle anymore to be with this guy. It it's no longer a hassle. It's all good. It's all great, and they're kind of friends. He won't say they're friends, but he's like, he cares about him. He starts to care about him, and then it's more of a like kind of like a he's just a kid kind of way at first, and they do get to know each other for years. So it's not just like a yeah, it's years. Papaya does, start getting into his 20s, and he still has a little bit of trouble controlling his abilities, but he has a much better grasp. But even once he starts to get a better grasp, Luca continues to stick around because, Papaya will sometimes pretend to not know how to do a certain thing. And he's like, Luca, I still need help doing this, whatever. I can't control this. And Luca's just like, yeah, okay, whatever. I'll stay and try to help you. And then, but Papaya's just like, haha, like I secretly do know how to do this. I just want Luca to stay longer. But eventually he doesn't have to do that anymore because Luca doesn't even think about leaving. And as many have guessed, Luca isn't very good at, displaying his feelings like verbally. He's more of an action kind of guy, but he's not very obvious, It's very little things that he does will show you that he cares about you. So he kind of does that thing for Papaya. He never says like, "Oh, you're one of my closest friends," or "Oh, I care about you," like that to Papaya. Papaya will say it to Luca all the time because Papaya is just like so free, and so he has no boundaries. He's like, "I don't care. I'll say I love you in a platonic way or whatever." He doesn't care. Luca, on the other hand, is a lot more reserved. But he does care for Papaya, and Papaya knows it. Eventually, he's like, oh, it's okay. So, as a majority of you guys know, Papaya does end up uh, developing some feelings towards this bitter little cookie. And it's a bad time. I mean, it's not that bad. Like, he's very, as you know, how he kind of chased Luca down for a very long time to get him to help him. He's very persistent. He's very he doesn't give up, So even though Luca shows absolutely no sign of having or of returning those feelings, he still kind of has hopes that eventually something will be there. Papaya has always had kind of like a thing for guys like him. His ex-boyfriend. I don't know if anybody remembers him, but Papaya does have an ex-boyfriend who he's into, those kind of like bad boy types, but they're not really bad boys. He's not into jerks, but guys like Luca, guys who are kind of just like on the outside, but on the inside they're just so nice and soft and squishy like a teddy bear. Did I just say that Luca was like a teddy bear? And it's not like there's anything wrong with Papaya. Like Luca either thinks he's a great guy, whatever, he's a nice kid. Well, eventually he does start, or he does stop thinking of him as a kid. In the beginning, it's like, yeah, he's a kid. And then eventually they grow, or not they grow, but Papaya grows up, and then Luca like knows him more, and they become really good friends. And they're kind of like attached to the hip, and eventually it's just they're like on equal grounds, But what was I saying? But it's more about Luca not wanting to get attached too much. I mean, he does end up getting very attached to Papaya, but he wants to keep it, at a certain level. So he already knows once he starts caring about him, he's like, okay, I'm done. It's over. I screwed myself over. This is gonna end badly for me, but it's finished, so can't do anything about it. And then he starts to see, because he does know like Papaya is not good at hiding his feelings, so he does know, oh god, this guy likes me. This guy wants something more, and I am already too close. Like I can't go any further. So he kind of tries to stay away, and with those kinds of feelings, he does a pretty good job. Luca is pretty strong when it comes to, keeping himself in check, I guess. I don't know. Not developing feelings. But when he starts, when Papaya's like seriously into it, Luca does kind of grow softer towards him, like in a, okay, well, he starts becoming like a little more protective and a little, I don't know. I don't know how to explain it, but he does become, softer. He does kind of just stop being such a jerk, I guess. Really, really, it gets to the point where if you even harm Papaya in any way, you can expect to get a visit from Luca because he won't take it. He does not want to see this guy who has treated him with the most, I don't know, the nicest guy that he has ever known, and the first guy the first guy that he's cared about really in the longest time to be hurt. Yeah, Luca, like I said, he was a lone wolf for a very long time, so he stayed away from everyone, and this is the first guy who's, been persistent enough to try to stay around and get him to care. So yeah, he has a very special place for Papaya. But doesn't really matter anymore because the speed paint is coming to an end, and do not worry, there's gonna be multiple parts to this, just like the Luca one. So yeah, and I'm gonna do another one for Papaya by himself. So expect that soon too. Sorry I didn't get too deep into it, I just pretty much covered the very beginning of their relationship, but there is a lot more and some sad stuff. So we'll get to that eventually. But thank you so much for watching, and like and comment and whatever. And more video suggestions would be good. Okay, cool. Thank you. Thank you for watching. Be safe. Do good. Bye. Welcome to part 2 of the Lucaia video series thing. Yay! So, this is just a doodle. You can see I had already started before I realized I should probably record it. It'd be good for speed paint to talk about these two. And this is on Fire Alpaca, not Medibang like the last one. So, that's pretty much all the details. This is Luca and Papaya, and we're going to be talking about them again. So, here we go. You can't really tell right now, but Luca does, in the end result, look a bit nervous. Right now, he's just kind of chill, but I changed him up a bit. The reason why he is nervous has to do with a sad fact. So, Luca is 100% Nightmare Demon. He's not, what is it called? Like an interspecies kind of person. Both his parents, his whole family, just 100% Nightmare Demon. And Papaya is not. He is half Nightmare Demon, half human, which is not rare. I mean, no, it is rare, but it's not like unheard of. It's been happening for a while. He's not the first half Nightmare Demon, half human, and he's not going to be the last, but pretty rare. And the thing is, Nightmare Demons usually live pretty long. Pretty long. What did I say? How old did I say Luca was? Like, he's been, God, how many centuries has he been alive? Like, he's lived through the Black Plague. That's how old he is. Papaya is like, in this, once things start get going, he's like in his early 20s. That's nothing. That's human. He's half human, half Nightmare Demon, and half Nightmare Demons do tend to live longer than normal humans, but only about like 100 through 150 years of age, which is old to us humans, but is absolutely nothing to Nightmare Demons. That's like a couple of days to them. It means nothing, right? Very, very short lifespan. And no one knows this more than Luca, who has been around for so long and who has never had anything against humans, so he would befriend them a lot and get into relationships, whether they were platonic or romantic, didn't really matter. He liked to have company with humans, and they would only live up to a certain amount of years, and they would pass away, and he would continue living on without them. And he's not heartless, you know? So he had some feelings and he had some sad moments. It's really hard. This isn't really the best doodle to talk over because it's such like a happy picture. But he, he went through a lot. It's
How's your coming? I know it doesn't feel right. What, do you need something?
This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine.
Hello, and welcome to a speed paint that may or may not make you uncomfortable. It's not the drawing itself, more of the coloring. You'll see in a second. It's going to be a little surprise, unless, of course, you follow me on Instagram or Twitter or Tumblr, in which you saw the picture like 5 days ago. But this was a very, very fun picture, and I did it back on Fire Alpaca, which was so good. It felt so good transitioning from Clip Studio Paint to Fire Alpaca. It's just so much more simple. But this is Lucaya picture. I guess that's what some people call the ship. It's just Papaya and Luca, of course. So Lucaya, I guess, is their ship name. I like it. It's good. So what to talk about? I'm always asking you guys for suggestions on what to talk about for speed paints. I mean, I usually ask you on Instagram and Twitter, but I never actually I ask for suggestions, but I get really picky, and then certain days I don't want to talk about something, so I'll just like ignore some suggestions. I feel so bad because you guys want me to talk about this stuff. What to talk about? Let's see. Okay, so this is kind of like a random thing to talk about, I guess. I don't know, I just thought about this last night. I remember a couple of years ago, I went to Six Flags with my older cousin. I adore her. And we were in line for a roller coaster. We were at the very front, and the guy who was working the roller coaster, he was probably like 40 to 50 years old, and it was, I don't know, Memorial Day or something, some kind of holiday, and he was asking my cousin about, like, because she asked if we could be at the very front of the roller coaster, and he says, well, that depends. Did you break any rules to get, here? Did you, I don't know, something along those lines. And I don't know, to see if we were worth being in the front or something like that. And she said no. And he said, well, did you come here without your boyfriend knowing? She said no. Did you come here without your parents knowing? She said no. Did you come here without your friends knowing? She said no. And then he thought for a second. He's like, did you come here without your girlfriend knowing? And he said it like jokingly, but also serious, because some people wouldn't take it very good if you ask them something like that seriously. So he was kind of doing it like in between to make sure that she wasn't weirded out, but also kind of serious. I can't explain it. But then she said no. And I don't know, we did end up going in the front anyways. But I do remember that experience because everyone in the whole entire world assumes you're straight unless told otherwise. And this is the first time I'm talking about sexuality, I think. But I was really happy that he asked about, does your girlfriend know? Like, he wasn't being like accusing, but it was like a just in case you don't have a boyfriend, maybe you have a girlfriend kind of thing, right? And I was telling her, I was like, oh my gosh, like he asked you if you had a girlfriend in like in a serious way, that that's really cool of him. And she was like, what? No, he didn't. And I was like, well, yeah, he asked, he said, does your boyfriend know? You said no. And then he asked if your girlfriend knew, and she was like, no, I think he just means like as friends, like platonic friends that are girls. And I was like, but he already mentioned friends. He said he kept boyfriend, girlfriend, and friends all like separate categories, so he probably meant like a girlfriend, like a romantic girlfriend. And she kept denying it, saying, like that he most likely did not mean that. And I remember just being kind of upset, like not super upset. I wasn't like gonna cry or anything, but it just felt bad because I was just so happy that somebody actually went through the effort of kind of including the possibility that she's not straight. I mean, she's straight, but but yeah. And I was kind of upset because a lot of people don't do that. No, I'm a cashier. I have to deal with people like hundred. I don't know how many hundreds of customers, but I do get at least 200 customers a day if it's a good day. And I'll get asked, do you have a boyfriend? Do you have a husband? Do you have kids? All these like really like straight questions. I don't think I've ever been asked like in real life if I had a girlfriend. Which kind of sucks because I don't know, it's just something that I kind of hope that people would ask me when I said, no, I don't have a boyfriend, but nobody really asks at all. Not even my coworkers, But yeah, that's just one thing I wanted to talk about, I guess. It's really dumb, and I know it doesn't really matter to a lot of you guys, but that's just a random story, I guess I've always wanted to tell but never had the chance, I guess. Anyways, let's change the subject because I it's really hard for me to be open about this kind of stuff on YouTube and Instagram because I know for Instagram I have family members who follow me there, so I never talk about sexuality stuff there. And YouTube, I mean, I'm talking about YouTube on Instagram all the time, so I don't know, they might they might look me up or something. Oh, is my voice weird? Oh, goodness. I usually save all my sexuality stuff for Tumblr anyways. That's why a majority of people follow me there. I haven't posted anything about that yet, though. Oh, geez, it's been so long. I have no time to post comics anymore. I feel so bad. I used to just draw comics all the time, and now I'm just on YouTube, and that's I finally surpassed my Tumblr followers on YouTube, though. I have more YouTube subscribers than Tumblr followers now, so that's cool. Also, I just realized that it's almost October, which is super cool considering that it's going to be Inktober. That's what I usually follow. I know there's another like October challenge in which you design like a monster every day or something like that, or like have a monster persona. So I don't know or no, there's also a Goretober, which is you draw gore every day. But I am not a gore artist, so I'm gonna do Inktober again. I think if I have time, probably do it like during my lunch hour or something. Oh God, but yeah, I'm super excited about that. I might have to buy a new sketchbook. Can you guys fill up sketchbooks? I fill up my sketchbooks about like 90%, and then I'm like, okay, new sketchbook time, even though I haven't like filled it out all the way. I don't know. It's just I used to fill them out like 100%, but now I don't know. I get bored of my sketchbooks, and I also like to decorate the outside, so that might be a big thing too. Anyways, sorry for the Markiplier clips in there. I'm rewatching Soma. Such a good game. Okay, thank you. Whew. Thank you so much for watching this and listening to my rambling. And sorry if this made you uncomfortable, but I'm uncomfortable every single day of my life, so you guys can put up with it for one speed paint. Alright, thank you for watching. Oh yeah, and as you can see, I did the color swap. Can you see the color palette swap? Isn't it weird? Look, Papaya's in Luca's color and Luca's in Papaya's color. It looks so weird. Yeah, I was kind of challenged to draw that, so I did it. It's kind of creepy, right? It's like unnatural looking. Alright, thank you so much for watching. That's a finished picture. Yay, I like it. Okay, bye!
League of Legends is a team-oriented strategy game. You'll start by choosing one champion from a list of many, all of whom have their own unique strengths and personalities. However you like to get things done, there's a champion out there to match your style. The goal is to work together with your teammates to bring down the enemy Nexus, located in the middle of their base before your opponents take down yours. A combination of skill, speed, and intelligence will lead you to the opponent's Nexus.
It is here at last, a video about an OC and also the art challenge kind of video thing. Yay, I talked about this last time. So, before I get into Luca and all of his everything, I will want to talk about the picture. And I said in my last video that I was going to do an art challenge type of thing, which is an artist style kind of challenge in which I pick artists that I really like and I try to imitate their style. So right now I'm trying to imitate Mookie. I think pretty sure that's how you pronounce their name. And you can find them on Tumblr and Instagram and Twitter and everywhere. I'm going to try to leave links to some of their social media down below so that you can see their art, because they are actually my favorite artists. So I'm done talking about that. This is again Luca, and this is going to be the very basics about Luca. It's not really going to go into his background too much. That'll be for the next video. So let's get started. Luca. It is spelled L-U-C-A, and he is a nightmare demon, which I'm going to get into in a whole separate video dedicated to the species. But a quick rundown would be nightmare demons are just demons who have the ability to give people or animals nightmares using their breath, which, so if they breathe into you, into your mouth, your nose, or whatever, you will get nightmares. And they tend to do this while you're sleeping, because if you're awake, you will get nightmares while awake, and they're pretty much just like hallucinations, and it's very bad. So that's kind of what they do, either for fun or kind of as their job. It depends on the demon that you ask. Luca doesn't really take his job very seriously. He doesn't really care to give people nightmares, but he'll do it just because he kind of has to. I'll get into that. I will say right now, let's go to the basics right now. So I already said his name. He has no nickname. When it comes to his age, he doesn't really have a set age yet, but he is above 600 years old, because nightmare demons live pretty long compared to humans. So he has been around for the Black Plague for sure. So, you know, that can give you like an estimate of how old he is. And his birthday in the, I guess, human calendar, or whatever calendar this counts as, is on October 25th. Get ready to celebrate that. His height is 6 feet 2 inches, which is about 188 centimeters. He is my tallest character. He's just up there. His sexuality is pansexual. He doesn't really pay attention to genders when it comes to who he's attracted to, or, you know, all of that stuff. If he finds you attractive, he finds you attractive. Doesn't really matter. And the distinguishable features that he has in his physical form are the things on his neck, which you'll see me draw eventually. I don't really have a name for them yet. I tend to call them gashes. You'll see them. That actually has to do with when I said that he's forced to give people nightmares. To those who don't know, nightmare demons are actually very incredible shapeshifters. But there are a couple of things that they cannot change about their physical appearance, such as their eye color, their teeth, and that's pretty much it for the most part. But some nightmare demons have, I don't know how to refer to this. They refer to them as deformities, although it's kind of just this really crude way of saying that. And these are actually deformities that only the very strong nightmare demons have. And Luca is one of them. The deformities, of course, are the gashes, and it's pretty much as if he's overflowing with himself, if that makes any sense. Nightmare demons are pretty much, in their true forms, they're just kind of tar-like monsters that are just pure nightmares. And so if he has too much nightmares, I guess, inside of himself, which sounds really weird, he will start leaking from those gashes. And so that's pretty much why he has to kind of get rid of all of that nightmare fuel or whatever. And so, yep, that's why he has them. And so if you ever see it leaking kind of the purplish goop, that means he's kind of overflowing with it. And like I said, only the very strong ones have this. So another nightmare demon that has this is Enoch, but I'm not going to get into him because it's all about Luca. Yay! So let's go back on track with Luca. Luca is very much a reserved person. He tries to stay to himself for the majority of the time, and that is because, as we all know, he is over 600 years old, and he has built a lot of relationships with humans, whether they're romantic or platonic. And what he has come to learn is that humans do not live as long as he does. And so he has dealt with a lot of deaths of his friends and lovers and, you know, all of that stuff. And so he kind of got tired of putting up with that kind of pain. And so that is why he tries to stick to himself. He doesn't like to talk to people. He doesn't like to build any kind of relationship with them. Of course, Papaya came into the picture, and that's only because Papaya kind of just forced himself into Luca's life. But if Luca did have the choice, he would just be a loner for the rest of his life. But that's not the case anymore. But even though he comes off as reserved and very quiet and doesn't really want to talk to people, he is actually a nice guy. He's has no bad intentions. He is just kind of living life for himself, as in, like, he just wants to live a peaceful life where he just doesn't get any attention and just does whatever he has to do here. His sense of humor would probably be kind of deadpan. He's not very goofy. He comes off as being kind of serious for the majority of the time. The only times when he's not super serious is when you bring food, because his favorite thing to do is eat. He loves eating food. It's just it's his favorite thing to do, and you can pretty much get him to do just about anything if you promise him that you're gonna make him something to eat, because he really likes like home cooked food. Going back to his personality, I guess you can say he's kind of emotionally constipated, as in he doesn't really like to show too much emotions, even though he definitely feels them on the inside. He's just, gotta keep a cool face, gotta be stoic all the time. So when it comes to sadness and anger, he definitely tries to bottle it up. For anger, he has the kind of seething anger, which is something will get him mad, but he just kind of lets it sit inside of him, and then eventually it builds up until he has to burst. So that's not very good for him. And when it comes to sadness, again, he bottles it up until he just can't take it anymore. And he does get sad, believe it or not. He comes off as really strong and nothing bothers him, but it definitely does, especially considering that he's gone decades and even centuries without genuinely having, like genuine relationships and affection, which really does bug him, because he's just, he's just like everyone else, and he just kind of wants to be cared about. So that's gotta be saved for a different video, because it gets really angsty and sad, and it's not good. Anyways, I obviously have a lot of things to say about this character, but I don't want to keep this video too long, so thank you so much for watching, and look forward to part 2 and 3 and up to 100, because God knows how many I'm gonna make. Okay, thank you so much for watching. Bye!